Alright, good morning and welcome to Technical Reading Through Games. Today is gameplay day number 2. And if you recall, the focus of your gameplay is looking at the audience of your game. And so what you need to do is make sure that as you're playing, that you are collecting evidence. Yesterday I showed you exactly what that looks like. So remember I used Donkey Kong Country. We walked through that. I talked about things like even like the menu at the beginning, how stylized that was, how the narrative itself was very family friendly. It was kind of cartoony. How the characters themselves were not all that threatening. They were animals and they were fairly non-violent. So all of those things could lead us to believe that the audience for Donkey Kong Country could be, I believe we decided both gamers and non-gamers, could be family friendly, could be single player, 2-player. So those are all just kind of pieces to the larger picture. So you may not necessarily have one specific demographic in mind by the time you get done collecting evidence. That's not important. What's important though is that you're actually spending time collecting the evidence. So at the end today, you should have at least three to four pieces of evidence from your game that would indicate possibly the types of people that may want to play your kind of game based on your gameplay. Remember, this is not like a hunch. This is based on your gameplay, all right? So I'll be around to ask some questions. Google Classroom, by the way, does have, I did post something on there. It's a question that asks you, who do you think your game is designed for? And then it asks you for 3 to 4 pieces of evidence. You can do this on your phone. We have laptops in the back. I guess if some of you want to do it old school, you want to go paper or pencil, that's fine. You can do it that way too. I have no problem with that. So what questions do y'all have before we start? All right, so we're going to use your responses today for a discussion tomorrow about audience and your particular games, all right? So be prepared to report out, answer some questions about your game in front of everyone else, okay? All right, let's get to it. All right, we're getting to the Fez group here in just a minute. I just have to set up our VR station, and then we'll get talking to them. So you just sit tight and enjoy some Fez. All right, so we're back to Fez here, and it looks like there's only one of you here in the pod today, huh? So We've talked a few times about Fez and about how unique the game mechanic is and how accessible it is to a wide range of people. But the ultimate question for today is, what piece of evidence might help you indicate who this game is designed for? So, I'm going to put you on the spot. So, like right off the bat, what's the first thing that comes to mind when if somebody were to say, well, who do you think might enjoy this game? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
I'm gonna say like teenagers or like around that age because it's like kind of difficult to understand, and I don't think like it's necessarily a kid's game, or like adults could probably enjoy it too because of the puzzles that are pretty hard.
Okay, no, that's fair. Yeah, I mean it is tricky, especially with that with the 2D to 3D game mechanic. Now it isn't gory, obviously. I mean, even if you drop, he kind of just falls, and then you respawn. There's no blood, there's no guts, any of that kind of stuff. All right, now we're moving on to our Minecraft group here. So these guys moved from Call of Duty World War II to Minecraft here, and they both have played Minecraft before, so we're pretty familiar with how Minecraft works. So I'm going to ask you what I asked the Fez group here. So the question of the day is, what piece of evidence would lead you to believe a game was designed for a particular audience? Now, obviously, it's a huge generalization to say it's made for one particular audience, but like what kinds of things lead you to believe, that it was made for a specific purpose or for specific type of gamer in mind?
Well, you can tell with how the art style is, and also the music, that it's not really I wouldn't say it's for like teens, but teens can enjoy it. But teens usually seem to like enjoy like the shooter games and stuff like that. But this game can be really for anyone. It's not really a specific group. It's kind of more spread out than normal games. Like, let's say with Call of Duty, we were playing that. With Call of Duty, it's more a smaller group in mind than Minecraft. Minecraft's really meant for anyone that just wants to sit down and play a video game.
Yeah. Okay. So you did mention something interesting. The idea of just sitting down and wanting to like kind of play, right? So if you're playing like multiplayer Call of Duty, you could have games that last 10 to 30 minutes. Whereas Minecraft, you can sit down, you can play for 5 minutes if you want to, or you can sit down and play for 4 hours if you want to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so very, very different kind of experience, right? So now, what is it that you two are making here?
We're just making a house, just kind of like a mansion, a modern house.
Nice. Now, do you two ever play in like survival? No. Did you used to play in survival? No. Yeah, there's something freeing about being able to just do whatever you want in a game. You can turn the game into virtually anything you want, which is something you can't really necessarily do with Call of Duty. I mean, you are limited in Call of Duty by how many people play, the level of the player, those kinds of things. Whereas something like this, that's not really a limiting factor. All right, so it looks like we came over to the Zelda group just in time. This is feeling a lot like yesterday. I don't know. All right, now. Okay, so when you die, I mean the respawn is pretty fast, right?
Oh, yeah.
You don't lose that. How much do you lose? Do you lose anything?
So now I'm just like back in the cave, and nothing really happened during this point, so I'm just kind of waiting to get back there. I'll have to do that fight all over again, but it's whatever.
Okay. You got some sweet equipment there. Okay, so, all right, so I have a question that's going to seem like it's not related, but it is related. So, with a game like Fortnite, where you can choose your skin, you know, or you can buy different skins, you know, those kinds of things that affect only really the look of it. You can't really do that with a game like Zelda. I mean, you can craft different kinds of things, right? Do you think that plays a difference in who might play this game? Like, if you could actually, you know, if you had total control over what your armor looked like, those kinds of things, do you think it would appeal to a wider audience?
That is something, like, as a YouTuber, you have to, like, you think about sometimes, because with Fortnite, if you want to play one single skin, so say you want to play that one dinosaur skin, you would probably theme your entire YouTube channel around that dinosaur skin. But with this, it's only Link, so, like, a bunch of people are going to have Link, and people have been using Link as a character for a long time. And so I think if you want more of a, like, marketing kind of scheme, Zelda probably wouldn't be the game that you'd play on your channel, because you'd want something that you can, like, someone, like, you look at Link the character, you don't think, oh, like, it reminds me of that one YouTuber, blah, blah, blah. But if you see a skin on Fortnite, you see someone and you go, oh, well, that reminds me of, like, Ninja, because that's the skin he uses.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So if you're looking at audience for a game, I guess it depends on the purpose of why they're playing the game. If they're playing to stream, or if they're playing to play the game, I guess. So, all right. So the question that I've asked every other group is, you know, you're supposed to find 3 to 4 pieces of evidence that you think best illustrates who the audience might be, because ultimately the goal here is to, you know, take a look at how audience affects design, how it affects writing. You know, a lot of times in English classes, you know, as an English teacher, you know, I'm always telling kids, just be aware of your audience, be aware of who's going to be reading what it is that you write, because that should affect how you write it. You know, you're going to write to your friends differently than you write to a teacher, right? So, yeah, so that's something important to keep in mind. So when you're playing Zelda and you're thinking about Zelda, what is it about, or, you know, what piece of evidence in Zelda that you've seen so far might indicate a particular audience?
Okay. They're very wide open game. Like, it's very huge, and there's a lot to take in. So it plays on people who are achievers and explorers. So the explorers, they want to see, like, every part of this world, because there is so much in this world to see. And then what the heck? And oh no. And so the achievers, they want to get, like, the best armor in this game that there is, because there is, like, so much that you can do. Or, like, say you want to fight every monster, so you have to find whatever this thing is. I don't know what this is. This is really starting to make me mad, this person right here.
Yeah, this is weird, right? So is this like a character you see all the time?
I've never seen this person before in my life.
I haven't either.
It sounds like I'm doing a report for the police right now. I've never seen this person in my life. I guess it seemed like this.
Alright, so we're going to move over to games here. And we're going to, yeah, so these guys have been playing games for this game. This is, I think this is day 3. Is it day 3 of games, this game for you?
This game day, yeah. Well, no, because we died yesterday. We completely failed on day 3, and we restarted today.
Okay, so you made one interesting comment at the end of class yesterday. So you said, I asked you, are you guys going to play the same game tomorrow? And you said yes. But you also said, now that we know what we're doing, it should be a lot different.
It should help us a lot more.
So this is very different than I think anybody else's game experience right now. Like I think what you guys are doing. So once again, you're playing this War of Mine based off a video game, massive narrative board game. Lots of pieces, lots of parts, as people can see here. So, I mean, so the question is, what 3 to 4 pieces of evidence do you have to indicate who this audience might be? So, like, if if you're going to describe this game to somebody, what 3 to 4 pieces of evidence, or just even one piece of evidence, what's the first thing that comes to mind when I say who might this game be for?
Well, it is based off of a video game, so you'd have to know a little bit about the game, I say, to completely understand what's happening and why.
Okay. Alright. Is this a fun game?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Alright, well I'll let you two get back out of here. All right, so we had some technical difficulties there with the camera. So hopefully we can get that fixed here. So move over to our HTC Vive Station, a game called The Wizards. A really cool kind of immersive narrative. So all right, so this, first of all, it looks pretty sweet.
It's like, I was playing the one level, we had to go over this like one part like 4 different times, cause as there's like 3 different plates and they catch on fire and you can't stand on them obviously, and you have to fight the other guy at the same time. So while you're focused on fighting the guy, the fire tends to get you, and it's just like, it catches you off guard. You forget completely about it.
All right, now just a few minutes ago, you got so into it that you even smashed your hand into the camera, have a slightly bloody thumb now. All right, so we got some bad guys here. Oh, now it looks like you just made him mad. Oh, alright. Okay, so what's interesting about this too is this is not bloody. It's not like a gory game at all.
Pull out your shield. You know how to pull out your shield? No, you have to twist your hand. Pull the trigger and die.
Oh, run! Run! They don't look happy at all. Okay, here's the other thing. So a game mechanic piece here, right? So the idea is you can teleport wherever you want instead of having to like run and walk. So does that make it a little easier?
Yeah, if you had to walk around, you bump into a lot of things. So like the teleport really helps with like getting around, getting away from enemies and stuff.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you the same question I asked everyone else here. So you have a bunch of these guys, a bunch of these enemies here. Do you think this, I guess, so 3 to 4 pieces of evidence to help explain who this game be designed for? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
First thing, it's like a science fiction type game. So people who are like into Harry Potter, like World of Warcraft, stuff like that, really be into it. And the certain monsters have like different how many times you can hit them in order for them to die. Like the giant orcs, I think they're called, take 3 hits, like 3 fireballs, and then the like normal sized ones take just 1, and it's just learning which ones take what and how to like, it's just skills pretty much. What?
So it's not, and the interesting thing about this is not button mashing, it's how you move your hand.
Yeah, you have to know the different like hand combinations to pull out different weapons in your shield and stuff.
Okay, so we talked about yesterday, while you were playing, we talked to your pod mate over here, and talked about accessibility. So I mean, if you're looking at like accessibility where somebody doesn't have, they may not have, full use of both arms or both hands, that's going to make this very difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it would if you can't use your hands, but like you can still play the game sitting down, and you can still like, I guess like witness it.
Okay. So you can you can still play it seated. So okay, just interesting. All right, all indicators for audience. Okay, so that's interesting too. The idea that in order to get health, you have to break those time pieces.
Yeah. You can also get different shards. There's like along the way. You can break certain walls and find like pieces of gems behind it too. And once you get all the pieces together, they form one big one. And then I'm pretty sure you have your life. I think. I haven't really figured it out 100% yet, but.
Those are really big. See, this is an interesting tactic that you can do in VR that you could not do in like a console game, where you can teleport behind them and then hit them.
Yeah, usually in like a console game, there's not really, it's hard to explain. In this game, you can like obviously teleport behind them and like get different, like get a better leverage, I guess, against them, but. In a normal game, it's like some games obviously have teleportation on the console, but like normal games are just, it's different. It's easier in this game, I guess.
think we should investigate. In any case, it can't be closed from this side, and we can always return straight to the sanctum thanks to the platform.
All right, so looks like you two have perfected the mansion there. It's a nice carpet color you got going on there. That's the interior up top, and the exterior on the bottom there. All right. Did you have any kind of inspiration for this architecture?
No, it's just supposed to be like a modern house, like a mansion.
Got it. All right.
This is an ice cream truck right here.
So you have an ice cream truck inside of your house. Makes sense to me. So is this the first thing you do? Like, is this just instinctual? Just you get in Minecraft, build a house? Is that what most people do? You think?
Yeah, I think so, especially in survival, because it's like a must.
Yeah, that's true. So, okay, so let me ask you this: do you think people play survival first in Minecraft, or do you think they play creative first?
Well, with me, when I first played Minecraft, it was before they came out with creative, so I had to start off in survival. I would recommend people to start off in survival, because if you start off in creative and you go to survival, then survival is like, what am I doing? I'm used to building all this stuff, and I have to wait to be able to build it. So
yeah, that's true. Now, this Minecraft is not. I haven't updated this yet, so we need to do some updates to it, at least to get it to the point where it's at now. Because I know 1.10 was just released, so we'll be updating this today, actually. So the next time you play, which would be Friday, possibly Thursday, you'll have the 1.10, which will give you a lot more. Actually, you'll have crossbows, you have new illagers, I believe. You have a new cat. There's some of the textures are a little different. It's pretty cool, actually. I was checking it out yesterday. Pretty cool update. Give you more options. All right, so how much headway have you made here? I mean, how far have you gotten?
Pretty far.
All right.
Not closer to beating the game, but I beat up some guys, so I mean that's pretty cool.
Okay. Looks like a different shield than the last time we saw you.
This is true. I realized I had a better shield.
Oh, all right, that's cool. All right. So, so it looks like you got some goblins that are beating up on. What are they beating up on? People? All right, so we're back to the Vive group here, the Wizards. Looks like they've hit a pretty large enemy. A boss, looks like. Which is interesting too, because you don't really know this boss, but maybe just the sheer size of the guy might indicate that.
Some of the walls you can break, they look like that, so I don't know.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Alright.
Scary.
Yeah, so VR does add a completely different dramatic element to the game itself, of course. Now, you getting tired?
My arms are getting tired.
getting hit by something. I'm just not sure what it is. Oh, it's the heated plates beneath you. Uh-oh. Watch the heated. Run! Run! Okay, you're good. Alright. How do you know he's got one hit left? Oh! The back of the hands. Alright. So we're looking at diegetic health bar there. Okay. What's the back of your hand that indicates your health?
Yeah.
Interesting. That makes sense, I guess, right? Diegetic, because it's VR, it's worse.
Because you never know how much health you have, and you don't know how much damage the hits do.
And you're just not used to looking at the back of your hand for health, right? I mean, you're used for like a HUD or something like that.
Because while you're like, in real life, you just look at the back of your hand sometimes.
Very happy. Oh, what is that? What does that do?
They automatically go at him.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Oh, he just disappeared. Looks like you beat him.
Poor mangled soul.
Yes!
I was too right earlier. saying
Nice
that
job.
people rarely rest in peace.
Alright, so just to recap here, as you all finish up your games, remember, you need to respond in Google Classroom to the question, who do you think your audience, who do you think the audience of your game might be? Remember, you need 3 to 4 pieces of evidence, and then we're going to use those pieces of evidence tomorrow in a class discussion, alright? So, finish up whatever you're doing in your game, make sure you respond in Google Classroom, and tomorrow we'll use those responses, alright? Thanks, have a great day.